back to another episode of Choppin with Chapman. To start with today's video, I'm going to play an excerpt from Paul Smadbeck's rhythm song, and I'm going to play it two different ways. And all I want you to do is listen to the two different ways I play it, and think about which one of those you like better. And if it's the first one or the second one, think about maybe what it is about the way that I'm playing it that you prefer. So here's option one. So that was option one. Here's option two. So, what did I change between those two different ways of playing that excerpt? Well, what I was trying to do is, in the second variation, try to bring out that melody in mallet 4 more than everything else. So, what we're talking about here is voicing, and today's exercises are going to run you through some options when it comes to single hand voicings, and we'll talk more about why that's so important and what it helps you do in your own playing. So oftentimes in 4-mallet marimba playing, anytime that you're dealing with multiple voices, there's going to be some element of like split hands or split mallets, right? Take, for example, Michael Burritt's Prelude 4. Something like that, right? Something like that. There's very clearly a melody in mallet 4. Baseline in mallet 1, something like that, and then a harmony in mallets 2 and 3. So the challenge here is not necessarily the physical aspect of playing these, but just trying to make sure that all of these different voices are aligned in your brain, right? There is certainly a physical element of having to play mallet 4 louder than mallet 1 and keeping mallets 2 and 3 really low, but it's pretty clearly delineated in terms of melody, bass, harmony, right? In excerpts like the one I played at the beginning, one of the biggest challenges is that we have 3 separate voices as your melody. Mallet 1 carries the bass for some of it, nice and easy. And then the middle voices, whoop, are split between 2 and 3, but there's a lot of moments where mallets 3 and 4 are striking together. So how can we as marimbaists, anytime we have these double vertical motions, create a dynamic difference between those two? The answer lies in how we approach our double vertical strokes. When you're first starting out, you learn that a double vertical is both mallets starting from the exact same height, and you're just going to drop them with the wrist so that they strike at the same time. And this is a fantastic way to start learning your double verticals and to get this motion correct. The problem is, in real life, it's going to be very rare that both of those mallets are carrying the same voice, right? There's always going to be some element of melody versus harmony. So in real life, we have to learn how to control these dynamics, not only within our permutations, not only in our individual rotations, but also within our double verticals. So how do we do this? Everybody has slightly different approaches, but I know for me, the easiest way I've found to do it is take this idea of all we have for dynamics is height and velocity, right? So let's say we're going to focus on height first. I'm going to bring one mallet above the other, so the other mallet stays where it is, and one mallet ends higher. So this one, of course, is going to be naturally a little bit louder, right? So let's try double vertical with one mallet 4 raised against mallet 3. Good. Notice that the outside mallet was, in fact, louder. There's a problem, however. Notice that they're not striking at the same time anymore. There's a flam, right? So the way we compensate for that is we're going to add a little bit of rotation in that stroke as well. Instead of just straight up and down, we can start to incorporate an up and down motion with a little bit of a rotation. So now the outside mallet is not only starting higher, it's also moving a little bit faster. If that kind of makes sense. You could try the exact same thing in reverse to where mallet 3 starts a little bit higher And instead of just dropping it straight down, you're also going to rotate slightly into it. Sorry, I will try to put better double stops as well. So notice, both of them are striking together, but mallet 3 is accented. And now mallet 4. Now mallet 3. And so on and so forth. What this allows you to do is get a lot of control of your dynamics within these double vertical motions. Anytime in music, like for example that rhythm song excerpt, where you have this, you can very clearly delineate between this motion and this motion. So instead of all of a sudden we have where mallet 4 speaks out and mallet 3 stays low. So just to begin with this motion, we're going to start with a really basic exercise that I like to do when I'm working out this kind of idea, and that is we're going to play double verticals all in the right hand. We'll want to play it with the left hand as well too, but for today we're only going to focus on the right. And we're going to basically play 8 on a mallet, where they're all double verticals except one mallet is going to be emphasized every 8 notes, like so. We're going to start with mallet 4 and then go into mallet 3, like so. So mallet 4 gets emphasized for 8 beats, 5, 6, 7, 8, then mallet 3. And hopefully you'll play the right notes as well. And then we repeat mallet 4. Notice I'm still keeping that up and down motion, but I'm trying as best as I can to rotate into this as well. And so on and so forth. It should be noted that the rotation is going to be a little bit subtler than our normal double lateral strokes or our like flammed single hand notes, right? It's not a full-on like forearm rotation like we have in double laterals, but it's just enough to compensate for the height differential between the two different mallets. So start first with that exercise very slowly, where you're emphasizing each mallet 8 times in a row, trying to eliminate flams as best as possible. You can move it around the keyboard, working ascending. Whoops. Try not to play with flams like I'm doing. And so on and so forth. You can walk chromatically or diatonically, however you prefer. And then another way I like to approach playing this stroke is pretend like it's a flam and then practice any like flammed rudiment that I know from snare drum with this motion as well. Let's take, for example, flam accents, right? Let's pretend like our mallet 4 is our right hand and our mallet 3 is our left hand. A normal flam accent would be right hand flam, then left, then right, then left hand flam, then right, then left, right? So you can start with just that motion, treating it either as flams, and once you get comfortable with that, all you have to do is condense the space between them until they become double stops, right? So here it would be with flams. And then once you get comfortable with that motion, double stops. And so on and so forth. Once you get comfortable with these motions and you start digging into these exercises a little bit more, you're going to notice that the absolute hardest part about this is making sure that when you're emphasizing certain mallets, the mallets that aren't emphasized are in the same dynamic range, right? So for example, if I'm playing this flam accent idea again, mallet 4 is going to speak out. I want this first mallet 3 in the double stop to be the same dynamic as my following 4 and 3, like so. And then same thing in reverse, without the flams. If that comes up at all, it's going to sound like it's in a different voice, but if that stays in the same register, or same dynamic register that is, all of a sudden we're going to get a much more effective differential between our voices. And lastly for today, we're just going to do a basic exercise up the keyboard, starting on C and G in both hands. And we're going to utilize this outside emphasis on the way up, and then the inside emphasis on the way down. So the permutation is going to be like this. Right hand, then 1, 2. That's all there really is to this exercise. So practice just that motion a few times, getting comfortable with those triplets. And once you're comfortable with that, we're going to play 4 times on each chord, all the way up the keyboard, and then we'll come back down. On the ascending part, like I said, we'll emphasize mallet 4. On the descending part, we'll emphasize mallet 3, like so. You're getting used to not only just isolating that emphasized double vertical motion, you're also getting used to playing that motion around different permutations in your other hand. This shows up all the time in music, so it's really useful to have that kind of dynamic control in your one hand while your other hand is doing something, a different motion entirely, right? You'll want to play this off the left, the same thing in reverse, but my left hand is garbage at this motion, so I'm not going to demonstrate that for right now, but work on it. It's super important. So that's all the exercises for this week. I know it's not a lot, but for a lot of viewers, this might be a new motion or something we haven't really experimented with before. So I want to give you a chance kind of just to isolate these individual emphasized double vertical motions and work through that before we get into any more complex variations. So yeah, that's all for this week. I hope you enjoyed, and we'll see you here again next week with another